at that emotion.
Around the outside. It's time to bring the action.
Yes, welcome to another episode of SMX Insider. 3 insiders with you as we get ready to preview the upcoming Pro Motocross Championship, part of the 31-round SuperMotocross World Championship. I'm Jason Wygant, joined by Daniel Blair and now Jason Thomas. We've already put a wrap on Monster Energy AMA Supercross, but there's one other piece of data that we've just gotten in. This is huge news. Attendance up 5% compared to 2022. That is 855,662 fans, an average of 50,333 of those 17 rounds. So thank you to the fans of Supercross. We got big momentum going into motocross. Over 50,000, the average every weekend, Daniel. That was awesome.
And you could feel it too. And obviously with the numbers being up, that's awesome. That shows growth. That shows that the fans are into it. But I'm talking more about the temperature this season. It was so good all year from the very first race at Anaheim. You walked to the Fan Fest, everyone was fired up, and it's because of what we have right now. We've got great stars, young guys coming up, and some veterans that just won't go away. It's like the perfect mix, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, JT, I feel like the industry as a whole just takes this big giant breath, a little bit of a reset, and then right back at it. Paul, it doesn't take more than a couple weeks and everyone's right back in the game.
Yeah, and first off, thanks for having me on the show. It's a great opportunity. And you're right. It has been a long Supercross series and just a part of this SMX series that we're rolling into. And I think everybody approaches it a little bit differently, whether you're a rider or you're industry personnel or you're on the broadcast team like we are. Everybody has a little bit of a different feeling. Myself, I just tried to compartmentalize it a little bit and understand that, yes, that was a great Monster Energy Supercross season we came off of, and so many amazing things happened. The attendance was up this year. There's a lot of things to look back on and be proud of. But here we are. It's race week again. We're heading into Fox Raceway, and there's so much to be excited about. So yes, it was nice to take a couple days off, but here we are again, and I'm motivated to go racing. So it's an exciting time. We have a lot of things to get into.
We do. First thing we'll do is show you the schedule. One of the cool things about this Super Motocross World Championship is that it doesn't have an impact on the traditional rounds of Monster Energy Supercross or the Pro Motocross Championship. You can see the schedule here. It's 11 rounds. Normally we do 12, but there will be 3 more races coming up in September as those SMX World Championship playoffs. But these are all familiar tracks. We're going to start it in Southern California, as we always do, at Pala Raceway, Fox Raceway in Southern California, then to Northern California. That's Daniel's home track at Hangtown, and all the traditional stops, be it Thunder Valley outside of Denver, High Point in Pennsylvania, the great Millville, Minnesota, and of course the centerpiece of it all, Redbud in July, Southwick, and then we'll have a stretch run with Washougal, Budds Creek, and Unadilla, and all those races up toward the Northeast, and then into the final rounds, which will conclude at Ironman outside of Indianapolis. That'll be our finale for motocross this year. So it's all the things that you've come to know and love, and then we'll add playoffs, which we'll get into as the season goes on. But right now we're going to talk 22 motos, 450 class and 250 class in Pro Motocross. All right, let's turn the 30-second board sideways and talk hot topics as we preview Pro Motocross. We're going to start with the 250 class, which is pretty wide open. You never know what young rider or even veteran is going to suddenly figure it out, but we're going to do our best to focus a bit. We think the 3 top contenders coming in are going to be Hunter Lawrence, Joe Shimoda, and Justin Cooper. What do you think of that list, Daniel?
Well, I tried to compile a list yesterday, and it was a lot of fun because there's probably 15 names on there that I think would be able to make an argument with what we're about to say here, which is that, yeah, Shimoda, Lawrence, and Justin Cooper, to me, are the clearest favorites on paper. For me, it starts with Joe Shimoda, the way he finished last season, 2nd overall in the championship. That final ride at Fox Raceway was one of the best I've ever seen out of him. And Hunter Lawrence, I mean, he's only won 1 Pro Motocross, which is weird, but the way he's ridden in 2023, he's been phenomenal from the first gate drop till now. Obviously, he's one of the favorites, but Justin Cooper seems to be the name that everyone's forgetting. And JT, I just got to ask you, this is a guy who didn't have a full schedule this year on the 450s. Was that a good strategy? Was that by design? I mean, kind of take me through, you think, the process with Justin Cooper, and if it was a good idea or not to skip so many races and prepare for this national championship.
Big picture, I do think it was the right decision for him if the goal And solely the goal is to be your Pro Motocross champion this summer, right? Because you have to remember, he was doing pretty well in Supercross. I think he surprised all of us with top 10 finishes right away. And for him to step away from that, step away from a factory 450 effort to prepare for this series, I think shows the level of dedication and motivation for him to go out and win races this summer. If you think back to the end of 2021, he was so close to becoming champion in this class. If I'm Hunter Lawrence, I'm absolutely concerned with Justin Cooper, because you know how great of a starter he is, and you know how prepared he should be. He's been doing moto after moto for the last 2 months, while everyone else in the field has been worried about Supercross.
Ooh, interesting. And then there's someone else that probably has a similar bent, a motocross focus, and that's Jeremy Martin, who's now on the Muck-Off FXR Club MX Yamaha team. He's a two-time champ in this series. He did race most of the Supercross rounds this year, but by his own admission, this is really his focus, 250 motocross. So Daniel, I think we're going to see a better J-Mart outdoors than in, but can it be a winning J-Mart? Can Club MX get overall wins or even a title?
You know what's weird is as time goes, you kind of you run out of belief in guys like that, right? He's a two-time champion, but you're kind of thinking, he's been injured, he's gotten older. Do I still believe? But then I go back to the fact that his body has never really been there in the summer, at least the last few years, because he's had Supercross injuries that keep taking him out. Well, he got through it this year, and that was the goal. Get through Supercross and just be okay, so you can come in with a full head of steam. And just like Justin Cooper, he's been training on motocross for a long time. He's been doing a lot of motos. He is a two-time champion in this class. So yeah, he should be on our radar. I mean, I think it'd be disrespectful to not have him on there. But JT, at the same time, this is not a guy who's had a lot of recent success, unlike the two-time MXGP world champion, Tom Vial, who should also probably play a role in this championship.
It's funny you mentioned that a rider just trying to get through Supercross to be healthy for Pro Motocross, because that's how I really viewed Tom Vial's Supercross season. He had never ridden Supercross whoops until this past October. So to think he was going to come in and be a championship contender, I think was probably putting it a little bit ahead of the game. Maybe 24, maybe 25. I think you see that out of them. But everyone that brought him over knew that he could be a contender in motocross. And he's coming in healthy. He's coming in prepared. And I think he's going to surprise some people, because if they're judging him off Supercross, that is not a fair comparison. That's not what he was, in my opinion, really brought over to shine for. He was brought over to be a championship contender this summer, and he knows how to do it. He's been winning races overseas for the last 3 or 4 years in preparation for this. This is a series that Hunter Lawrence was really never that successful in. And we have a two-time champion in that series coming into this series. So I think it sets up nicely for him. I think being able to start on the great starts, which is a change for 2023, it's a consistent thing for him. He's going to have a really nice setup. And I think you're going to see him at the front almost every time. Now, does that mean he's going to be leading every lap? Probably not. But I think he will start in the top 5 90% of the time, and it's going to set him up for success. Even though he doesn't know the tracks as well as a lot of the other guys, he's going to be able to find the pace because he's going to start with them.
All right, finding other contenders in this group. As Daniel said, you could probably go 15 deep. You never know who's going to catch fire. We'll just name 3 of them on this show, and we'll each pick one of the 3. So we're talking RJ Hampshire, Levi Kitchen, who did win a moto last year, and Hayden Deegan, who was so sensational as a rookie in Supercross, and usually rookies are better in motocross. So Daniel, I'll go to you. Which of those 3, Kitchen, Hampshire, and Deegan, do you want to hit on here?
I'll take RJ Hampshire, and it's because he's admitted he's a better motocross racer than a Supercross racer. And if you look at what he did this season, all those second places and the victory there late in the championship, he's just really kind of created this new RJ 2.0 where he's just been more solid, he's more efficient, he's a great starter, and he's better at motocross. So maybe this is the year that he takes the big leap again. There's a lot of riders in this field that have talent, but none of these guys have won this championship. Why not RJ Hampshire, JT?
Yeah, I think he's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to go with Hayden Deegan, and I'll tell you why. I've been wrong every step of the way on this kid. When we came into Houston at the East Coast opener, I really didn't know what to expect. I thought he would take his lumps, have some crashes from trying too hard. We didn't see any of that. He exploded out of the box and really improved every step of the way. And if you look at the final round, his heat race win, he looked like the guy. He looked like he could challenge Hunter Lawrence for that championship hat, and I think we'll expect that in 2024. So I have completely had to change my outlook on him. I admit that I was wrong. I underestimated him every round. So I'm just going to jump to the front of that. I'm going to completely flip. and say that we're going to see a very competent Hayden Deegan that, yeah, maybe he's not your champion, but I think he's going to run at the front. I think he's confident. I don't think he fears anyone in this class. And if you give him a good start, look out.
Yeah, and usually good starts come with being on those very, very fast Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing YZ250Fs. Although oddly, that was the problem for Levi Kitchen last year. He had speed, but his starts rarely were good. And then one time he got a hole shot, and he was so fast in Colorado last year that even Jet Lawrence is like, I tried to catch him, I couldn't. So we did see progress with Kitchen toward the end of Supercross. Even though he won a Triple Crown earlier in the year, he actually got faster and better, I feel, in the main events later in the season. So we can carry that momentum forward. Finally fixed the starts, which shouldn't be a problem on that motorcycle. He could be a contender too. And then, I don't know, you're just throwing a blanket over a ton of guys. There are some injured riders. I don't think we're getting Cameron McAdoo back instantly. I don't think Austin Forkner either. I think Seth Hamaker's coming back. Max Volan's probably a little under the radar, but he's healthy and ready. The list goes on and on in the 250s. That should be phenomenal watch. Probably someone we didn't mention here is going to end up winning a race, but that's kind of the nature of that class and what makes it so fun. Now we'll go to the 450s, and that's much more known commodities. Dylan Ferrandis is a former champ in this series. That's going to be a topic. We'll get there. But with Eli Tomac out, I think everyone wants to focus on the Chase Sexton, Jet Lawrence duel under the same truck. But first, Daniel, let's just acknowledge the greatness of Tomac and what a bummer it is to not have the number one out there this summer.
You know, I was in Arlington, sat down with Eli, had the one-on-one conversation when he broke news that he was racing Pro Motocross and the SMX playoffs. And when you have a guy like that, that's that respected and that good, you just want him there forever. You want someone to go and take it from him. That's what you want. And I'm bummed. I'm bummed that he's not there this championship because he won it last year. And it was a hard-fought battle with Chase Sexton. But when it mattered most, he was at his very, very best at the end and won the championship. So, yeah, I would have liked to see him in there. Again, I'm more concerned with him and his health than selfishly wanting him on the gate. Jason, I just hope that he's back at some point. You never know with those types of injuries, especially in this sport, because you don't really know a lot about them. But I guess my hope is that he's back for the playoffs and, hey, maybe sneaks in a couple rounds of Pro Motocross to warm up. That's just dreaming on my part, but that's all I got to go with right now, JT.
Yeah, it's a bummer, right? You hate to start a series without the reigning champion, especially due to injury. But there is time. You know, we're hearing some things that maybe it's not quite as bad as we feared, and maybe he could get back to racing a little sooner than we were worried about. So I just love to leave the door open. You know, these SMX playoffs give us this new opportunity that we've never had to see a guy return and still maybe lay claim to something great.
Yeah, but what it opens the door is, this is what everyone wants to talk about, JT. You've got the two-time 250 champ, Jet Lawrence, moving up. Chase Sexton, who was so close to that title last year. And really, when you look at the ages, they're so much younger than the other contenders in the 450 class. This could be the rivalry of the future. And at least this summer, they're doing it for the same team. So I think, JT, this is where the true focus is going to be, at least from a drama standpoint. Ferrandis and others will want to weigh in on the title, but this is going to be fun to watch, Jet versus Chase.
Well, we've been seeing this develop, right? We didn't necessarily get to watch it play out in Monster Energy Supercross, but if you go back to the Motocross of Nations last fall, there was talk of this. This is the first time that Chase and Jet will face off, right? Because we knew that Jet was making this move this summer and was like, okay, where do they stand? They know that probably for the next decade, let's hope anyway, for the next decade, there will be championships decided between these two. We are lucky we just get to watch it. We don't have to be involved. We don't have to deal with any of the drama. We just get to sit back and enjoy it like all the great fans will. This is setting up for an all-time title fight, and this is Jet's first run at it.
Yeah, Daniel, this is an embarrassment of riches for Honda. A nice problem to have, but it could end up being a problem in some ways. We'll have to see, huh?
Yeah, I'll be watching that too. I mean, I'm an admitted drama queen, so that's all I care about is what's going on in the truck. If it was me, if you could have a camera anywhere on the track, I would just move it inside the truck and just see how it goes. That's my summer. That's what I want to see. But I have to imagine that the other riders in the series are probably a little annoyed and frustrated that we're even talking this way, JT. Dylan Ferrandis, he's a champion in this class. Adam Cincerello, Aaron Plessinger, they're 250 champions. Those are champs. Champs don't like hearing about other guys who have not won a Pro Motocross championship. Chase Sexton's never won one, and Jet Lawrence has never even raced a 450 Pro Motocross. So if you're Cincerello and Plessinger and Dylan Ferrandis, Weege, you're probably a little annoyed by this, but at the same time, I think this is the reality. They're probably going to be chasing around the two Hondas this summer.
So if you're Ferrandis, you're going to say, had I been healthy last year, I would have beat Sexton and Tomac again. I'm the favorite. I'm the best guy. And I believe he believes that, and that goes a long way. As for Cianciarulo, I know that some people are probably snickering, saying, come on, you're really counting on AC in a grueling 22 Moto championship, but it wasn't that long ago. JT, he took Zach Osborne to the wire in 2020 as a 450 rookie. Cianciarulo is probably more capable outdoors. It just feels like it's been so long.
A little bit removed as we are from Ferrandis' title, but this was a 2019 250 Pro Motocross champion. Followed that up with a runner-up position, and as you said, took Zach the distance in 2020. So he is capable. The one question I have with Zach, with AC, is this arm issue, right? He seems to lose feeling, has a little bit of trouble holding on late in the races. We're hearing that maybe that's not as much of a problem in Pro Motocross as it was in Supercross. So if that is a development and he is better, absolutely.
Yeah, and as for Plessinger, it was kind of a average season last summer, but I'd actually forgotten. He reminded me, he broke his arm in Supercross last year, and he said when he went to the gate at round 1 Pala last year, he really was not ready. And we heard a ton of teething issues with the first year of that new KTM last year. So even with the slight injury that Plessinger had toward the end of Supercross this year, he told me at Salt Lake City, he's much further ahead on fitness, preparation, and just being ready for motocross this season than last season. And the bike has taken many steps forward. So I think you're going to see a much better Plessinger than last year. The question is, how much better? But an even bigger question, we have so many guys on the sidelines that we don't know when they're going to be back. We think they will be because of the playoffs now. So that's playing out as we hoped. But Daniel, I mean, look at the list. Anderson. Now we're hearing rumors that Cooper Webb might even fight his way back for round 1. Justin Barcia's camp says he wants to be back for round 1. Christian Craig, Malcolm Stewart, the list goes on.
Barcia says he wants to be back at round 1. The team is being optimistic that maybe he could pull it off, which I've heard it's long shot. Anderson, I haven't heard anything. And now Cooper Webb, you're hearing different things every day. And the last I heard is he wants to race the Nationals. And that's coming in a couple days. So I don't know if he's going to be there. I have no idea. But those are some really high-profile guys that won't start with us. But you have to imagine they're going to get their way in there at some point and probably play more of a role once we get later in the outdoors and into the SMX playoffs.
Okay, fans, Pro Motocross season is now here. I'm excited about that, but if you know me, I'm more excited about deals and discounts, and I've got one to announce for you. International fans of Supercross and Motocross, the final 14 rounds of the Super Motocross season are now available for half off the original price on the Super Motocross Video Pass. That's right, 50% discount for all our international fans to watch the Pro Motocross season and the inaugural playoff rounds of the Super Motocross World Championship. So go to supermotocross.tv to purchase access to the exciting conclusion of this 2023 season. You get all our live races, our weekly show right here, SMX Insider, and over 800 plus hours of archived races. All right, let's get more data here for our Pro Motocross preview. We bring in the king of the calculator, Clinton Fowler. We know that Eli Tomac's not defending the 450 title. Jet Lawrence won't be in the 250 class this year because he's moving up. So let's talk 250s first. You got some interesting data about Justin Cooper and how good he has been in this class the last couple of years, and he's certainly a contender.
Yep, absolutely, Weege. And Justin Cooper is clearly going to be a contender this year. But interesting, last year, he didn't have any wins in 2022. That said, he's coming back from injury, so it's not entirely surprising. He led 9 motos, only won 2 of them. Again, he's coming back from injury, so not entirely surprising. But the thing that we've come and gotten used to with Justin Cooper is amazing starts. So JT, he's got 10 hole shots last year, 21 in the last 2 years. What do you see from Justin Cooper?
I think we're going to see more great starts. That's been his calling card since he turned into the professional ranks. So I don't think anything changes there. If anything, maybe we get more of that because he'll have more confidence this season than he did last year, simply from preparation. The rider I have questions about, though, is Hunter Lawrence. I think this is going to be a breakout season from him. We saw him in the best Supercross form of his life. And I think a big contributor to that was his start. And I've heard that they really worked on the ECU to find a nice range that's going to get him off of the grid start, which is going to be used in Pro Motocross. So all of the things that they learned in Supercross, he will be able to transfer to Motocross. And I think that's going to propel him to better starts. And in the end, a better result.
I was just gonna say he's gonna need those starts. In his history, he's got 1 win in 41 career starts. So some of that you can obviously attribute to those starts. The other piece you contribute to is his brother Jet has obviously had the speed. You look at history, or you look at 2022. Had Jet not been there, there was 6 motos that Hunter would have won and 4 overalls. So Hunter clearly a favorite going in here. The other one, I think we have to talk about. Joe Shimoda finishes 2nd in the series. He's got 2 overall wins. An impressive season for Joe. Maybe the most impressive thing is just how consistent he was throughout the year. He had the most top 5s of anybody in the series. And then he came on really strong in the second half of the season, Weege.
Yeah, he did. And it was almost like Hunter was the second best guy and really battled Jet hard at the beginning of the year. And then Joe was probably the closest in the second half. But we don't know exactly how that's going to play out over this season. But we do look at, like, logically, Hunter and Joe are progressing, right? They should get better each year. They're relatively young riders. But then we've got these wild cards. Jeremy Martin, the wildest card of all, and RJ Hampshire, who's always in it, but he's kind of leveled off. So what are you seeing on the J Mart and RJ fronts?
Yeah, Weege. I mean, Jeremy Martin, 2-time champion. You've got to respect that coming into the season. So I'm super interested to see what happens there. He's the 4th all-time in wins, so 20 wins in the class. So I would expect him to be ready to go and get some moto wins and some overall wins this year. Then you got RJ Hampshire. RJ had his best season in Supercross, but in Pro Motocross, the best he's ever done is 4th, and he's done that 3 times. Last year he was 5th. I don't know that he's going to be able to compete against the guys above, but I do think we'll see moto wins and we'll see overall wins from him, Weege.
Okay, so many other riders we could talk about in the 250 class, but we know what everyone wants to talk about, and that is the upcoming Jet Lawrence versus Chase Sexton battle here in 450 Motocross. First, just give us the Chase Sexton stats, because without Tomac here, he's kind of the guy in the 450 class now.
Yeah, absolutely, Weege. Chase Sexton has won 10 of the last 29 races in both the Pro Motocross season and in the latest Supercross season. So he's clearly the head of the class now. He's the alpha dog, if you will. But guys, we got a guy like Jet Lawrence coming in. He's a rookie. This is not the first time a rookie could have potentially won a championship. It's happened 6 times before, starting with Gary Jones way back in 1972, and most recently with Dylan Ferrandis. So Dylan Ferrandis 2021, pretty amazing season.
So JT, are you worried at all of Jet Lawrence? Like, oh, he's going to be fast, but he's a rookie. He's going to throw it away. Are you worried about that? Or do you think that's not going to be a big problem?
I don't worry so much about Jet throwing it away. I just wonder, is he ready to tackle this force that is Chase Sexton? Jet Lawrence's MO is not really to DNF or crash or make rookie mistakes. He is usually one of the most mature riders on the track, comparing against any age. And it's difficult to compare against Dylan Ferrandis because you look at the experience and the age difference. It's not really an apples to apples comparison against Ferrandis. So it's going to be a big test for Jet. I do believe he is up to it. I do believe he's on the podium all summer long. But that question of can he beat Chase Sexton week in and week out is going to be the one that determines this championship.
Last thing, you mentioned that difference. Jet is one of the most mature, consistent guys we've seen. You have some alarming numbers on Ferrandis and how many races he has missed lately.
Yeah, he's only raced 16 of 46 races since winning that championship in 2021. So he's had some injuries. Those injuries obviously stacked up. Those could hinder his ability to come in ready to go 100% at round 1. But obviously, he's going to contend with Sexton and Jet Lawrence here throughout the entire series, Weege.
Okay, we're going to put ourselves on the spot and make title picks in a moment, but you're the numbers guy. So what do the numbers indicate? Can you make title picks? What do you think?
I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys. Really risky one. I'm going to go with Chase Sexton on the 450s.
Wow.
I mean, 24 of 29 podiums over the last 2 seasons is an obvious choice. And for me in the 250s, it's Hunter Lawrence. I think with the absence of Jet in the class now, I think after his Supercross season, we're going to see Hunter Lawrence on that podium and on the top step of the podium a lot this season.
All right. The stat man goes with the good odds. Good on you. And we'll see you have a wrap up after round 1 next week.
Thanks, Weege.
Okay, so we let the stat man weigh in on his title picks. We're going to do the same just to spice this thing up. I hedged in the same way in our Racer X videos for this. I know that Sexton and Lawrence are certainly the hot items that everybody wants to talk about right now. So I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to pick Dylan Ferrandis. If he wins over the two hyped guys, I will sound like a genius. So I'm going to go Ferrandis. Daniel, who are you picking 450 champ?
You put me on the spot with no prep, so I'm going to go logical this time. I'm going to go with Chase Sexton. I think that's the logical pick. And then in the 250 class, I'm telling you right now, I really can't decide between Hunter Lawrence and Justin Cooper. So I'll flip a coin, imaginary coin lands. Justin Cooper wins the 250s.
All right. JT, man, I know you want to waffle. These are tough. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Sexton. I'm going to go with the 450 experience. I'm going to go through the hard-fought war that he went through with Tomac last year, and I think he learned a ton from that, and I think he'll be able to maybe early on exploit a little bit of that with Jet Lawrence as Jet transitions to the 450 class. So I'll pick Sexton there with zero conviction. And then in the 250 class, I'm going to stick on the Honda train. I'm going to go Hunter Lawrence. I think he has a lot of momentum. I think he looks at this class as his time. This is his moment in the 250 class to pick up the reins from where his brother left off. I think he knows what he's dealing with Justin Cooper. And if he can contain him on the starts, if he can keep him close early, I think he believes he can beat Justin Cooper over the course of 35 minutes. So I'm looking at a Honda sweep no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, I didn't weigh in on 250s. I'll go Hunter, although for sure between he and Cooper right off the rip, that's a coin flip. And the races will be covered by myself and Jason Thomas. We'll be there. You can watch everything on Peacock. Just a reminder, we'll have Race Day Live, which is our qualifying coverage starting at 10 o'clock local time every Saturday. And then the motos start at 1. And new for 2023, there'll be a half-hour break between the first set of motos and the second set of motos. That'll be our halftime show. So shout out to Peacock for giving us extra airtime so we can have extra content from the races. And JT and I will be there. I'll have James Stewart beside me in the booth at round 1. Ricky Carmichael will be jumping in and out as well. That's the good news. But we have some sad news to share. Daniel Blair, you are going to hand in your badge as an SMX Insider. This is your last week with us. I cannot believe I'm even saying these words, man.
Yeah, it's sad and it's kind of hard to get the words out, but I feel like this is a nice baton pass, you would say, onto JT. But no, yeah, big decision and a tough decision, but I've actually decided to step away just from Supercross and broadcasting and TV and all the obligations that do come with that. It's a really, really hard decision for me and my family, but honestly, I got to look at it from a positive angle, which is this has been like the most amazing chapter of my life. Got a call in 2014. Hey, do you want to audition to do TV for Arena Cross? Never thought it would lead to anything other than just being on TV, which I thought was cool. And to be able to make it all the way to the play-by-play booth, do 11 races, top it off with Daytona Supercross next to James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. Just unbelievably fulfilling for me. And so, yeah, this is kind of the official end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one with some cool opportunities that are presently here and ones that are coming. But yes, Jason, this is signing off for me.
Yeah, not just this show, but not in a broadcast capacity at all. You and I have discussed this quite a bit offline because you do have other jobs. You have other things. So you can explain here some of the specifics of why you can't do all this at the same time.
Yeah, well, ultimately the battery ran out. I mean, you know, I take on a lot. That's been kind of a running joke for a long time. But I think this season, just the challenge that came with it got the better of me. And the battery did run out at the exact same time that I have some amazing opportunities that will allow me to change my life and reprioritize some things, mostly around my family. And the first one is KTM. And not a lot of people know this, Jason. We teased it and joked around a little bit this year, but KTM gave me the position of amateur team manager for not only KTM, Husqvarna, and Gas. And that's a really awesome opportunity. There's 19 kids on the roster that need my guidance and need my management. And I feel like I owe it to them to give them everything and not just give them half. Because even this year I was up in the booth calling some races and Futures kids were out there. 4 of them were my riders that I was managing. And it was just, man, those were some really weird nights for me. So yeah, moving forward, I got to take advantage of an opportunity to really give back to these amateur kids who are going through the toughest part of the early years, which is that transition into pros. And I've been through that and I can help in many ways. So I want to do that. Also, the chance to be home more. Next Level 101 is a racetrack and training facility right by my house. I'm actually going to be part of the ownership group moving forward there, which gives me a chance to give back at the organic grassroots level. And we're going to be coaching kids, very beginners, just getting kids on bikes. all the way up to futures kids who are trying to make it in Supercross, and to be able to be there and be able to impact lives there. And of course, with KTM at the amateur nationals and at the Supercrosses and motocrosses, it's just a huge opportunity that I want to take very serious. And, I'd like to do it all. I'd like to do everything, but sometimes you got to reprioritize things and put things in order. And ultimately that's the next chapter for me. And that's where I'm going to put my heart. So I'll be around. I ain't going anywhere, but I'll just be, giving my passion to sport in different ways moving forward.
All right. Sorry to hear it. It's good we'll still see you at the races and you'll still be in the industry. Got big shoes to fill, and don't be a stranger. That's it for SMX Insider this week. You'll see myself, James Stewart, and Jason Thomas on hand, round 1 Pro Motocross, watching on Peacock or the Super Motocross Video Pass if you're outside the US. Can't wait to go racing, everybody. It's going to be a good one.